All right, we're now looking on page 25 at number 77. Let's look at the first measure here. In the first measure, we have a quarter note on beat 1, 2/8 notes on beat 2, an eighth note on beat 3 with an eighth rest on the second half or and of beat 3, and 4/16 notes on beat 4. So we would count that measure 1, 2, and 3, 4 E and up, with a rest on the and of 3. It would sound like this: 1, 2, and now. 1, 2, and 3, and 4 E and up. So try that. Now let's look at the entire line. It's the same rhythm over and over until we get to the last measure. So let's play that together. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, begin. 1, 2, and 3. 4 E and a 1, 2 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 and 3. Rest. So keep backing that up and going over it until you have that worked out completely. Okay, now we're looking at number 78. Number 78, we have, in the first measure, we have 4/16 notes on 1 E and a quarter rest on beat 2, 2/8 notes on beat 3, an eighth note and an eighth rest on beat 4. So we would count this 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and, or 1 E and a rest, 3 and 4 rest. But it sounds like this when we play it. 2, ready, now. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. Now that same rhythm repeats for every measure in 78 except for the last one. So play that along with me. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, now. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4 and. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4. Okay? Keep backing that up and going over it until you have it completely worked out. Okay, this is line 79. And on line 79, let's look at the first measure, so count it together. On beat 1, we have 2/8 notes. On beat 2, an eighth note and an eighth rest. On beat 3, 4/16 notes. And on beat 4, an eighth note and an eighth rest. So we would count that 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and, or 1 and 2 rest, 3 E and a 4 rest, with the rest being on beat 2 and beat 4. So that measure would sound like this. Ready? Now. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. So let's do that line together. So every measure is the same except the last one. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go now. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. 1 and 2 and, 3 E and a 4 and. 1 and 2, 3, rest. So look at that last measure. 1 and 2 and, 3 and 4. All right, so keep going back over that until you have it completely worked out. Okay, now we're looking at line 80. So on line 80, let's look at the very first measure. We have on beat 1, an eighth note and an eighth rest. On beat 2, 4/16 notes. On beat 3, an eighth note and an eighth rest. And on beat 4, 4/16 notes. Counted 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a. Or 1 rest, 2 E and a 3 rest, 4 E and a. So the rest are on the ands. So it would sound like this. This is the first measure of 80. Ready? Now. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a. So let's try that together. Every measure is the same except the last one. 1, 2, here we go. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3. So keep backing that up and going through it until you've got it worked out even and smooth. Now we're looking at solo 20. Okay, now let's look at the first line. We're going to go through this line by line. The time signature tells us that there's 2 beats in every measure, and a quarter note gets a beat. So finger along with me and count, and then back the video up and play along with me on the first line of 20. Here we go. 1 and 2, ready, now. 1 and 2, 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2. So keep backing that up and going over it until you have it worked out. Now line 2. Here we go. 1 and 2 E and a, ready, now. 1 and 2 E and a 1, 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2, 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2. Keep backing that up and going through it until you've worked out that line completely. Then move on to the third line. Here's the third line. Ready? Here we go. Now, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1 E and a 2. Keep working that out. Now look at the fourth line. I'm going to take the first ending and then I'll stop and I'll play the second ending for you. So here's the first line. The fourth line, I'm sorry. 1 and 2, ready, now. 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and up. And that takes us back to the beginning. Now the second ending is just simply 1 and 2. So the second time you play that last line, we skip the first ending and play the second one. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, now. 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 E and a 1. 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2. 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1 E and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and 1 E and a 2 and up. And that takes us back to the beginning. Now the second ending is just simply 1 and 2. So the second time you play that last line, we skip the first ending and play the second one.